Hey everyone, I'm the creator of the new TEK drill freemium mod, and I just wanted to make a video showing how to actually use it. So, first thing you're going to want to do is go to your engrams, search for it. It'll be a level 100 unlock that requires the TEK replicator and 50 engram points. Once you've actually crafted it, you can try to place it down. As you can see, there will be some rules as to where you can or can't place it, which will also be based on the configuration that you or the admin of the server has chosen. So once you actually find a place you want to place it down, you can place it down, and you're going to see it says TEK drill scanning available locations. You're going to want to wait for that to finish, and then you can actually start building your base. Alright, now it just finished, and as you can see, the lights turned from yellow to blue. And it says, finish scanning available locations, craft modules to expand the base. Once you're in this state, what you can do is you can access your terminal and press show available locations, and this will show you all the available locations that are available for this specific spot you place the drill in. As you can see, this is most of them, so this place is pretty unobstructed. So what you're going to want to do is go into the inventory, and you can see all the upgrades here. I'll talk about these more later, but mainly you can see the TEK drill module engram. As you can see, it says there's a crafted amount and a required for next upgrade amount. The crafted amount means the total amount of these you've crafted for this drill, and the number right next to it is showing the total amount of available locations at this location you placed the drill at. It also says how many you need for the next upgrade and how many you currently have. So if I start crafting these, you'll see that they do not go into the inventory, but instead they get stored into the drill. Now, if you already had a drill and you chose to demolish it, you can find that it will drop a bag with some of the modules or all based on the configuration on that server you're playing on. What you can do is you can grab some of these modules, or all of them if you want, and you can press the store modules in inventory button. As you can see, we currently have 4 crafted, and we have 182 module items. When I pressed it, it consumed them and it added them to the stored modules. So now, as you can see, we have 186 modules stored in the drill. So you can open this radio wheel and you can see that you have 186 stored modules and 667 available locations. Now, once you've crafted all your modules, you don't have to craft them all at once. You can craft enough until you have enough for the next upgrade, as you can see there. So right now we're way over the amount we need for the next upgrade. So what you can do is you go here and you can hold E to open the radial menu and go to this option, expand base. Now what this option is going to do is it's going to start creating the base itself. Now because this is only the first level, it'll create the bottom 3x3 of the entire base. As you expand it, it's going to expand outwards until it reaches 4 modules in each direction, and then it's going to start doing the same on the floors above. So you can also, if you want to expand the base all at once without having to press this a bunch of times, you can enable continuous expansion. That'll just make it so whenever it finishes upgrading a level, it'll go to the next level if you have the available modules. So I'm going to expand the base now. And now it just finished, and you can see that there's an option here, a new option, that says teleport to last module. This will let you teleport into the base quickly without needing to select a module. This will teleport you to the last module you teleported out from using one of the terminals. The other option you have is you can go into the terminal and you can click on a module and press the teleport to module button, and that'll send you directly to this module. Now, as you can see, now that we actually have a base created, you can see the 3D representation of it. Now, it's very important to note that these arrows are showing the direction that you're actually looking in. The red one means forward, so this direction is forward, and that's important for this part that says front, back, left, and right. Forward means the front. Now, you can also see that there's a blue arrow. The blue arrow is pointing up, so if you have the blue arrow pointing down like this, you know that the preview is currently upside down. So you want to make sure that you always keep the arrow pointing up. And the green arrow is showing, is pointing right. So you know that when you're looking at it like this, looking at it from above specifically, this one is the module to the right. And as you can see here, you can see that the walls between these modules in the center aren't enabled. And you can see that by clicking on them. And as you can see, this one only has the top and bottom modules enabled. Now, it's also important that the modules that have red walls, that means that these walls are locked. That's because they're outer walls, and outer walls you cannot turn off. Of course, if you were to turn them off, which you can't, you would just fall out of the world. So these modules are permanently locked. As you expand the base, it'll start unlocking modules around it. So for example, these walls on the edges, this right and this back module, these walls, when we add a new layer here, it'll unlock those walls because now you can go into these modules without falling out of the world. Now, there's a couple of options here, but first, before I show you that, I'm going to show you actually what it looks like inside the base. So we can press teleport to last module, and now we have been teleported inside the base. Now, this base is actually underground, but you do not have to worry about anti-mesh affecting you. This is built with a system that'll make it so anti-mesh won't affect you inside the module. Now, as you can see, these modules have red lights on them, these walls. That's because these walls are locked, like I was explaining earlier. So once you're inside here, you might wonder, well, how do I get back out? Well, it's really easy. You just go to one of the modules, you can hold the radio wheel, and you can add a terminal. Now, you can add these terminals to as many modules as you want and as many different parts of the base as you want. So you can add one there and one there, and you can also remove it. Now, once you have one of these terminals in your base, what you can do is you can rotate it if you want. But the most important part is that to get out, you can hold the radio wheel. You can see you can access the terminal from inside the base, or you can teleport out, and that'll just teleport you to this terminal. Now, once you've expanded your base at least once, you can start expanding it further, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. So you can see right now, you can also see that the preview itself has the terminals inside the base. So you can see the green terminal is the one you're currently accessing and the one you're currently at. And this shows the entire preview with the modules and the terminals inside them. Now, you can also access the inventory of the module above ground using these terminals. And for example, you can craft more modules. Now, once you expand the base once, you can start expanding it more. Right now, I'm going to enable continuous expansion so you can see what that looks like as well. So you can see it's creating more modules. As you can also see, the amount required for the next upgrade increases as you start going to further and further layers. And the next layer is going to take 24 modules to create. And also, if you check this radial wheel, you can see the amount of available locations goes down when the amount of stored modules goes down, as in when you actually create more modules. I'm going to let it upgrade a few more times and then I'll bring you back when it's finished. Alright, so it just finished creating all the modules, and if we go into the menu, if you go into the inventory, you can see that it consumed all those 180 something that we had crafted. It used them up. And you can see here, you only have 11 modules left and only 480 available locations left. Now, if we go into the terminal, you can see this is what one entire floor looks like. It's 9 by 9, and you can have up to 9 vertical layers in the drill. Now, you can see this first layer if you want, and then if you want to go to the upper layers, for example, you can press up, and that'll take you to the next layer. And you can also press up again to go to the next layer, and you can go back down. And an important thing is that you can also show all the layers at the same time. So as you can see, that's what the entire base looks like. Also, if you end up moving the preview to some rotation that's really weird, you can press the button to just reset the camera rotation, and it'll send you back to this vertical view. Now, again, actually inside the base, you can see that it has been expanded quite a bit. And as you can see, it started with this layer, went another layer, and it started creating it from the center point. And it went 2 layers out, and it's still missing 2 layers. As you craft more and more modules, you can expand this even further until it reaches the max size of 9 by 9 by 9. So, now that you've actually created your base, you can actually edit it to create walls and floors and ceilings and everything like that. So it should be really intuitive to use. For example, let's say I want to add a floor on this second floor. So what I can do is I can click on modules to select them. I can hold Control to select multiple at a time, and I can also click on one, hold Shift and click on another and select all the ones in between. For example, if I want to select the whole floor, I can click on the corner, then click on the other corner, and it'll select all of them. Now, you think it might be empty here, but what this is actually showing is that these are modules that don't have any walls enabled. So you can see that when you hover over them, it shows a little circle there, and when you press on them and select all of them, you can see that it actually shows a bigger circle to show that you have a module selected there. Now, once you're in this preview, say for example I wanted to add a floor on these middle modules. So what you do is you select all of them, and then you can see in here you can also drag to pan this around. For example, I want to add a floor, so that would be the bottom one. So I hover over the bottom wall and I click, and you can see it created some floors. Now let's see what that looks like. So what I can do is I can select the middle one and teleport to it. And now you can see that I created a floor in the middle. Now, what you can also see is that these lights are green. This means that these walls are unlocked, meaning you can turn them off and on whenever you want. You can also see this because when you go up to one of the walls and hold for the options, you can see that you get the toggle wall option. And you can turn it off. Now, what if I wanted to add walls to these? Well, as you can see, now that we disabled one of them, this one does not have a floor, so you can re-add that if we want. Now, what if I wanted to add walls? Well, you can also select these and just press on whichever one you want. For example, let's see, I just added the top one. Now I want to add the front one. So I click on that and it adds a wall. in the front of that module. And as you can see, now this one has the front enabled. And this also applies when you want to do a bunch of them at once. For example, I can activate all the front walls. And as you can see, now all the front walls are enabled. I can also disable all of them. I can turn them all on. I can turn them all off. I can toggle them all, meaning if it was enabled, it'll be disabled. And if it was disabled, it'll be enabled. So right now, we're just going to toggle all again. And as you can see, when I tried to toggle them all off, it didn't work for the one that has the terminal because it has a terminal and I'm standing on it. Now, I'm going to re-add this floor. And one other option that you have is, you might ask, well, okay, so how do I actually get up onto one of these? Oh, it's actually really easy. All you need to do is go into one of these terminals. And as you can see, okay, so this is the floor of the second floor, right? Okay, then I can go to the bottom floor, click on one of these and hover over this. And as you can see, it says, while hovering, swap structure variant. If I press G, so if I press G now, you'll see it'll switch to a pillar. Let me get a closer view of this. You can see it switched to a pillar, now a thin pillar, now a ramp, a roof, stairs, and a railing. And now nothing. So let's switch it to a ramp. Now that we switched it to a ramp, we can see that it just created a ramp here, so we can actually just walk up onto the next floor. And you can add these wherever you want, and you can even add them with whatever rotation you want, or scale, or location. For example, say I want this to be 1.5 times bigger in each axis. So I would first, what you want to do is you select it and then you press copy selected. That'll copy the current rotation. So as you can see, this one has 1.5 scale on X, 1 on Y, 1.4 on Z, and 45 degrees on Y. Say I wanted to make it bigger on the Y axis, so I would just type in 1.5 and now press apply. And as you can see, it just made it bigger. And now you can see we have a much wider ramp. If you want to reset it to the default, if you mess it up, for example, you could just press this reset button, and that'll set it back to what it was before. Now, another important thing that you can do is, for example, say I wanted to add this ramp on this whole edge of the floor, because I want to be able to walk up to the second floor wherever I am. What you can do is you can press on these and press Control C to copy it. Now, right now I have this module copied. That means I copied all the settings, including the walls, the structure in the middle, and for example, if I want to paste it, I can select these and press Control V and it'll paste it. Or I can select multiple at a time and paste it. Now, say for example I wanted to do one of these. Well, to do one of these, I actually have to change the rotation of this. So I can copy it, paste it, then copy the rotation and try to see what kind of rotation will let me have the ramp in the direction I want it to be. See, that's the other way around. So instead of 90 degrees, I'm going to do 270. And now, as you can see, we have the ramp correctly orientated. Now we can copy this and paste it onto these. And now, as you can see, we have all these ramps on this side facing in the right direction, and all ramps on this side facing in the right direction. So we can just walk up to the next floor. Now, if you want to remove these, you can select all of them and press G, and then you see it'll start switching the structure until it's just gone. So that way you can just create whatever kind of shape you want in here, and you can also, for example, say I want to turn this one on. And another important part is that, let's say for example I turn all these on. Well, let's see what that looks like. As you can see, now we have a full cube. Well, what if I want to make like a little room? Well, you can actually change what kind of wall this is using. So you can go here, swap wall variant. You see, now it's a window. Now it's a door frame. Now it's a double door frame. and now it's back to being a regular wall. You can also do this from the actual terminal itself. So you press on this, you hover over one of these, as it says here, while hovering wall to swap wall variant, you can press R. So if you press R, it'll switch to a window, a door frame, a double door frame, and back to a wall. This also applies for multiple at a time. So let's say I turn the left wall on. I turn the left wall on and I want to make them all doors. So I can press R, and it'll make all them doors. Now, if I go over here, you can see that now we have a giant line of all the doors here. When you're creating your base, you can also try to see what it looks like in its entirety. For example, I just added a bunch of stuff, right? Well, what if I want to see what it looked like? Well, I can just press show all layers, and now it'll build the base itself and show me what the entire base looks like. As you can see, it has all those window walls, all those door frames, I mean, the little cube, it has all those terminals, and it has the second floor and the ramps. Now, what if, for example, I wanted to save this base layout and paste it in other places? Well, I would go here to layouts. I would say, for example, just call it tutorial. I type in the new save name, I save it, and it'll show up here. Now, what you can do is say I wanna check what this tutorial base actually looks like. I can press load into preview, and it'll actually create and display the copied base into this. Now, for example, let's say I wanted to delete the top floor, or let's say I wanted to delete these, then delete this, delete these, and delete this, and let's say I wanted to delete this floor as well. Now, if I go back to the terminal, you can see if I show all layers, you can see that it's pretty empty, right? Well, if I go into here and I load this into the preview, you can see it saved the previous base layout. You can also choose to delete these, and when you press delete, it'll ask you if you're sure. If you don't press it again, it'll turn off, but if you press that you are sure, it'll actually delete it. Now, what if I wanted to apply this layout to the base? So as you can see, the current layout is empty, and I want to use this one. So what you do is you just press apply to base. Now, as you can see, you'll see a little progress bar. You can see it'll start applying the actual layout that you saved to the base. And as you can see, now it's done, and you can see it modified the entire base. If you go into here, you can see that now it again looks exactly like the preview that we had saved here. Now, for the next important part, once you go into the drill terminal, you can see that it has upgrades. Each upgrade has 3 tiers, and each tier gives different effectiveness. For example, let's see the player scanner upgrade. Installs a radar that scans for nearby enemy players. Let's craft this. Once you craft it, it disappears because you already have it, so it's not in here anymore. Now, if we go back into the terminal, you can see now you have a surveillance tab. If you go into the surveillance tab, you can see this little radar, and this thing will display on this little radar, it'll display enemy players that are nearby. Now, for example, let's say I wanted to upgrade it again. So I will go here and it says increases scan radius. So it has 150% effectiveness, and the radius is now going to be 15 foundations. So I craft that. It says I added the upgrade, and now it's gone from here, and the scanner will have more range. You can also do that for the third one, and it's just the same, it just increases the radius again. Now, that was the player scanner upgrade. For the other surveillance upgrade, we have the cameras upgrade. Once you install it, you can see that it added cameras to the drill that you can see from outside. Now, if we access the terminal and go back to the surveillance tab, you can see now you have a live feed of what's happening outside. So if I click on this to start controlling it, you can see I can move it around and can see outside the base, and it can even press E and Q to switch between cameras. So each camera is at one corner, and you can just switch to see what's going on outside your base. You can click again to stop controlling, and now it'll stop this. Now, if you're having any issues with not being able to stop controlling this, you can actually press this button in the top right. That'll let you, that'll force clear your control of this. And of course, these camera upgrades, they also have increased effectiveness. So now the max camera angle is going to be 68 degrees for the tier 2. And for the tier 3, it'll be 90 degrees. So if I go back into here, back into surveillance, now I can move the camera a whole lot more. This applies to all the cameras. You can also look through these cameras from actually inside the base. For the next upgrade, we have the electric field upgrade. It says allows the user to activate a lightning storm around the drill. Once you craft it, you'll see it added these effects to the drill, so you can see that it actually has the upgrade. Once you've actually installed the upgrade, you can go into the radio menu and you'll see an option to activate the electric field. Once you do that, it'll start raining lightning down around the base, dealing damage to wild creatures and enemies that get hit by it. So I'll activate it, and now you can see lightning is starting to strike around the drill, and that will do damage to enemies. Now, you can also see here, it says that there's a time remaining, and there's also going to be a cooldown once it finishes. That cooldown will be displayed on here and on the radio wheel. As you can see, the electric field, tier 2, has a duration of 4 minutes and a half and a cooldown of 40 minutes. And the tier 3 has a duration of 6 minutes and a cooldown of 30 minutes. So you can craft these, and now you can see that we can activate the field again because we just upgraded it, and now if we activate it, it'll last for 6 minutes. Now, if you go back into the menu, now the next upgrade is the resource generation upgrade. This is an upgrade that will let you activate the drill to generate resources over time without any cost. And as you can see, it says resource generation interval every 10 minutes, and it'll generate 1 metal, 1 crystal, 3 flint, 3 stone, 0.5 obsidian, and 0.5 oil. This does not mean that it won't generate obsidian or that it'll generate half an obsidian. This means that if it's half, for example, if it's 0.5, it'll generate 1 every 2 cycles of this. So let's add it. And as you can see now on the radio wheel, we get a start drilling for resources option. So if I activate it, it'll start drilling. As you can see, you start hearing a sound of rock sliding and drilling and mining. If you check here, you can see that you can stop drilling, and it tells you when it's going to next generate items. And as you can also see, I can't expand the base while the upgrade is active. So for example, if I wanted to upgrade the base, I would need to stop this, wait for it to finish, and now we can expand it once we have enough modules. Each time you upgrade the resource generation upgrade, it'll make the generation interval lower, and it'll increase the amount of resources you get. For example, for T3, it'll generate 2 metal, 2 crystal, 6 flint, 6 stone, 1 obsidian, and 1 oil every 5 minutes. One thing also to note is that depending on the settings that are applied, you can also teleport into the base using a dino. So for example, let's summon a direwolf here. Let's say I wanted to teleport inside the base with my direwolf. So if I want to teleport into the base while riding my dino, it says hold R to teleport into base. As you can see, I held R and now it teleported me in. Now this is dependent on the settings the server has, but You might not be able to ride dinos. You might be able to ride them, but they won't have AI. You might be able to use turrets inside the base, and that's all something you can configure from the settings. So if I go into here and check the settings, I can adjust the max base size. I can adjust the days to reach max wear and tear, because the structure will get a wear and tear on it over time. You can allow turrets inside base, allow dino riding inside base. You can add damage multipliers for dinos inside the base. You can allow teleporting with your dino. You can change the drag weight of dinos that are allowed to teleport in. You can change the multiplier of modules that you get back when you demolish your drill. You can choose to allow the drill in caves, allow it underwater, allow the modules underwater, because when you actually create modules, it will create air pockets if there's water underneath. So if you allow the drill underwater, you can actually place the drill in the middle of the ocean if you want, and it'll let you actually live at the bottom of the ocean. And these options, allow vertical module stacking, will make it so modules that end up being a 1x1 and vertically stack on top of each other, it'll allow them. And if you allow modules above ground, this will make it so even if modules were to spawn above ground, it'll let them spawn. So, for example, if you're in the middle of the ocean and you place it on a cliff, it'll let you have modules like hanging over the cliff. Here you can also choose to allow the dino AI inside the base, including following and attacking and things like that. And you can adjust the minimum distance between drills. Also, for all of the upgrades, you get these settings. So you can choose to disable certain tiers of upgrades. For example, if I want to disable tier 3 of the camera's upgrade, I can just do that. Or you can also adjust the effectiveness of each tier. For example, if I wanted the tier 3 resource generation upgrade to be really powerful, I can set this to, let's say, 500 and then save the settings, and now the T3 resource generation upgrade is going to be much more powerful. And that applies to all of the upgrades. Now, in this UI, you also have this option for the how to use thing if you ever need to know how to use the mod and don't want to check out a really long video like this one. You can just press that and it'll show you a bunch of information about how to use it. Also, in this UI, you can press this button to open a little menu that you can decide to send your feedback. For example, let's say I want to send my own feedback. I want to say, this mod is awesome. Now you can select here, you can select very positive, positive, negative, very negative. Don't select this one, guys. So let's say I wanted to select this one. Now I can send this, and this will actually send me a message to Discord. And another thing is there's more detailed information in this. So if you press this, it'll say, this button will open the link in an external browser, press accept to confirm. This will send you to a Google Docs with a bunch of information, and it also has a link to a Google Sheets with all the spawn codes and everything like that if you need it. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, one last thing. If you want to teleport out with your dino and dino riding is not allowed, say let's disable that and so I can show you. So where is it? I disable allow dino riding, and now as you can see, I can't ride this direwolf. But if I want to teleport outside with it, I can go to the terminal, hold E, and see teleport out with nearest dino. Teleport out, it teleports me out with my direwolf. So, one last thing, I'm going to show you what the base looks like when it's fully expanded, so give me a second to fully upgrade it and then I'll show you. One important thing is that you can also, if you go to the drill and hold E, you can disable wear and tear, you can remove the current wear and tear, you can check if the drill can be demolished, and if you're admin, this option will always show up. But if you're not admin and you check if the drill can be demolished, It'll check if you have any structures or dinos or players inside the base, and it won't let you demolish it until you remove whatever's inside. Also, for PvP, it's very important to note that if you want to raid one of these bases, you can actually do that, even if you don't own the mod. If you want to raid the base, all you need to do is come up to it and damage it, and once it's below a certain threshold, it'll actually let you access this terminal as an enemy. And when you access it as an enemy, you will see this entire menu. You won't see a bunch of this stuff, but what you will see is these. And what you can do with that is that you can press on one of these and you can still teleport to modules as an enemy. So you can actually teleport inside the base and raid it. Now, if you do not want to go inside and raid it, what you actually can do is you can just destroy the entire base itself. Once it gets to that low health threshold, it'll start taking a lot less damage. But if you actually decide to destroy it, what it'll do is that it'll grab all the inventories of all the structures below, and it'll teleport them above ground. And also, it'll teleport all the dinos that were inside the base above ground, and it will give them cryo sickness. So, it is actually raidable even if you don't own the mod. And for everyone who does not own the mod, but their tribe mate owns the mod, for example, you can also use these teleporting options. You can't toggle the walls or craft upgrades or things like that, but you can actually teleport around the base and teleport out and things like that. Now that it's fully upgraded, if you go into the menu and you press show all layers, it'll start building the entire base. And now you can see we have the entire base in here. So as you can see, it's really empty. So if I want to go inside, I just teleport inside. And as you can see, it's almost at its max size. It's not at its max size because it found some obstructions. So for example, there you can see that it found a really big obstruction, so it completely blocked off all of that. So let me see if I can actually show you what that looks like and why it's blocking up there. As you can see, right here there's a wall. So as you can see, the shape of the base actually adjusts to where this big rock is. So it won't actually have like your base be inside the rock. And I guess this is also a good way to show you that the base actually is underground. It's like fully underground. Like just right below this. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, just let me know. You can also join my Discord and ask questions there if you need to.